After our engagement, my husband's mother insisted I wear her old wedding dress. When I declined, she hissed, "If you marry my son, you do as I say." My husband agreed. It's important to her. I smiled, nodded, and walked down the aisle in a dress that left everyone in shock. Mark and I had been engaged for 3 months when Sylvia dropped her bombshell. We were sitting in her overly floral living room, sipping the weak tea she always insisted on serving, when she suddenly clasped her hands together and said, "You'll be wearing my wedding dress, of course." I almost choked. I wasn't even thinking about my dress yet, I was still finalizing a venue. But Sylvia spoke as if it was already decided. I forced a smile. "That's really sweet, but I won't take no for an answer," she interrupted. "All the women in our family have worn it." Now, here's the thing. Mark had one older sister, Stephanie, and she had not worn the so-called family dress. She had eloped, and Sylvia never forgave her for it. But I wasn't about to point that out. I tried to be polite. "That's a really kind offer, but I was hoping to find something that." Sylvia's expression darkened. "If you marry my son, you do as I say." I blinked. "Excuse me?" Mark, who had been silent this whole time, finally spoke. "Babe, it's important to her. Just try it on." I turned to him, waiting for him to tell his mom she was being ridiculous. That I should wear what I wanted. That I wasn't just an accessory to his family's traditions. Instead, he squeezed my hand and said, "It's just a dress." That was the moment everything changed. Sylvia dragged me upstairs to her attic, where she unzipped a yellowed garment bag. I cannot stress this enough. This dress was a disaster. It looked like something that had been stuffed into a cardboard box for the past 30 years. The lace was stiff and discolored. The sleeves were puffy in a way that would have been horrifying even in the 80s. There was a giant stain on the train that I prayed was just from old champagne. It smelled like dust, mildew, and bad decisions. Sylvia ran her fingers over it like it was some priceless artifact. "It's perfect, isn't it?" I stood there, staring at this moth-eaten nightmare, trying to find the right words. I wasn't about to wear this thing. There was no way. I'm not sure it's really my style. Sylvia's lips pressed into a thin line. "Style?" She scoffed. "You think you have better taste than me?" I bit back my first response. Instead, I tried reasoning with her. "I just don't think it would suit the wedding we're planning. The venue is, oh, so now my dress isn't good enough for your fancy little wedding." Before I could respond, Mark stepped in. "Mom, she's just nervous. We'll take it home and she'll think about it." I gave him a look, but he ignored me. Sylvia's expression softened. "That's my good boy. Always taking care of his mother." That was when I realized something. This wasn't just about the dress. This was a test. Sylvia was trying to see if she could control me. And Mark? Mark was failing. So, I smiled. I nodded. And I agreed to take the dress home. Over the next few weeks, Sylvia called me constantly to ask if I had fallen in love with the dress yet. I gave vague answers, trying to avoid a fight, but she wasn't buying it. One evening, she called again. Mark answered and put her on speaker. "Have you scheduled the fitting?" she asked. I sighed. "I told you, Sylvia, I haven't decided yet." Her voice sharpened. "There is nothing to decide. You will wear the dress. End of discussion." And then Mark, the man I was supposed to marry, said, "She just really wants this. Babe, can't you do this one thing for her?" I stared at him. I felt my stomach twist. This wasn't just about the dress anymore. If I let this happen, it wouldn't stop here. Sylvia would dictate our wedding, our holidays, our entire marriage. And Mark? He would always take her side. That's when I made my decision. I played along. I told Sylvia I was so excited to wear her dress. I told Mark he was right, this was important. I went to a tailor, but not for alterations. I had something better in mind. The venue was stunning. A vineyard in Napa Valley, filled with fairy lights and soft music. Guests were seated. Mark was at the altar. Sylvia sat in the front row, smug as hell. Then the music started. The doors opened, and I stepped through. Not in Sylvia's dress. At least, not in the way she had imagined. I had transformed it. The puffy sleeves? Gone. The lace? Dipped in red dye. The train? Chopped into a mini skirt. The bodice? Tighter than a corset. The veil? Black. I had turned it into a scandalous, gothic masterpiece. The crowd gasped. Sylvia's jaw dropped. Mark's face went pale. I locked eyes with Sylvia and smiled. And then, the silence stretched for what felt like forever. The only sound was the wind rustling through the vineyard trees. Sylvia's face twisted in horror. Her mouth opened and closed like a fish gasping for air. Then she stood up so fast her chair screeched against the floor. "What have you done to my dress?" Her voice echoed across the venue. Mark was still frozen at the altar, eyes darting between me and his mother, looking like a man trapped in a nightmare. I kept my head high and walked down the aisle like I owned the place. My heels clicked against the stone path, each step deliberate, slow, powerful. When I finally reached Mark, his lips barely moved. What the hell are you wearing? I tilted my head, pretending to be confused. Your mom's dress, of course. It's a family tradition, right? A ripple of hushed murmurs spread through the guests. Some looked amused. Others scandalized. Stephanie, Mark's sister, was covering her mouth, trying not to laugh. Sylvia, on the other hand, was shaking with rage. Her face had turned a deep, blotchy red, and I could see the vein in her forehead throbbing. You ruined it. You ruined our family's history. You made a joke out of this wedding. I shrugged. No, I made it my own. Mark clenched his jaw. This isn't funny. Go change. I let out a sharp laugh. Oh, now you want to tell me what to do? His eyes darkened. This is humiliating. I leaned in slightly, lowering my voice just enough for only him to hear. Good. Now you know how I felt when you sided with her. Sylvia turned to Mark, her hands shaking. You can't let her do this. This is supposed to be our day. I raised an eyebrow. Our day? Mark ran a hand down his face, looking torn. But then he did what I should have expected. He reached for my arm. You're making a scene, he hissed. Just go put on something normal and we'll forget about this. I yanked my arm back. We'll forget? I don't think so. More murmurs from the guests. People were shifting in their seats, waiting to see what would happen next. Sylvia's hands curled into fists. I knew you were trouble. I told Mark not to propose. I told him you'd never fit in. I smiled. And yet here we are. That's when she snapped. Sylvia stormed up the aisle toward me, her heels clicking so hard I thought they might snap in half. You ungrateful, selfish little. Then she did the unthinkable. She grabbed the front of my dress and pulled. The sound echoed through the vineyard. I gasped as the fabric tore, the sound splitting through the air like a gunshot. The entire bodice nearly came off in her hands. A collective gasp from the crowd. Sylvia staggered back, holding a chunk of lace in her hands. My heart pounded, but I refused to give her the satisfaction of looking shocked. Instead, I laughed. Loud and clear. Wow, Sylvia. First you force me to wear this thing, then you destroy it? What kind of family tradition is this? She looked horrified at what she'd done, her mouth opening and closing. Mark's eyes went wide. Mom, what the hell? Oh, now you care? I shot back. Sylvia let out a strangled noise. You did this. You ruined my son's wedding. I smirked. No, Sylvia. I saved myself from a mistake. Mark's face paled. What do you mean? I turned to him, my voice as calm as ever. Oh, you'll see. The twist suddenly, I heard a voice from the side. Hey, Sylvia. Remember me? Everyone turned. And there stood Stephanie, Mark's sister, the one who refused to wear the dress. The last time I had seen Stephanie, she had been distant, almost disinterested in the wedding planning. But now, she looked angry. Sylvia's face lost all color. What are you doing? Stephanie walked up beside me, crossing her arms. I was going to stay quiet today. I figured, not my circus, not my problem. But after what you just pulled, I think it's time people know the truth. Mark frowned. What are you talking about? Stephanie took a slow breath, then looked me dead in the eye. You're not the first fiancé she's done this to. My blood ran cold. The entire crowd was dead silent. Mark blinked. What? Stephanie turned to face the guests. Oh, don't act so shocked, Mom. This is what, the third time? Fourth. Sylvia's hands trembled. That's a lie, Stephanie cut her off. Is it? Then tell Mark why he hasn't spoken to his oldest brother in 7 years. Mark took a step back. Wait, what are you talking about? What does this have to do with Adam? Adam, the oldest brother. The one who cut off the family years ago and refused to come to the wedding. Stephanie locked eyes with him. Because Mom pulled this exact same crap with Adam's ex-fiancé. The control, the demands, the dress. She drove her away. And Adam chose her over Mom. So she made sure he was erased from the family. Mark looked stunned. That's not true. Adam left because Mom forced his ex to obey her rules, just like she's doing to your fiancé. But she fought back. And Adam left with her. I slowly turned to Sylvia. How many women have you pulled this on? Sylvia's mouth opened and closed. No words came out. But the look on her face said everything. Mark's hands were shaking. He turned to his mother, voice barely above a whisper. Mom, is this true? Sylvia took a step toward him. Sweetheart, she's twisting things. Mark shook his head, stepping back. I need to know the truth. The silence that followed was unbearable. Then, finally, Sylvia's shoulders slumped. I only wanted what's best for you. And that was when I knew. She had done this before. And Mark had been too blind to see it. The entire wedding was about to explode. And I was ready. Mark looked like someone had just ripped the ground out from under him. His eyes darted between Stephanie and Sylvia, his whole body stiff, his breath coming short and fast. He shook his head, almost like he was trying to reset reality. This isn't true. This can't be true. Stephanie let out a sharp laugh, but there was no humor in it. Really? You think it's just some crazy coincidence that she's tried to control every woman you've ever dated? Mark turned to his mother, pleading now. Mom, tell me this isn't true. Sylvia's face was pale, but her lips were pursed, tight with frustration. I could see the war happening behind her eyes. Admit it? Or keep up the act? Then she sighed and reached for Mark's arm. Sweetheart, you don't understand. I had to. Mark flinched. I had to, she repeated. Every time one of you boys brought home a girl, she stopped, searching for words. They were never good enough. They didn't respect our family. They tried to take you away from me. Stephanie scoffed. You mean they had boundaries? Sylvia shot her a look, then turned back to Mark, her voice growing desperate. I was protecting you. Adam was going to make a mistake. And now look at him, he's gone. He won't even talk to us. Mark's face twisted with something unreadable. Because you pushed him away. I did it for him. Sylvia insisted. Just like I did it for you. Then she turned to me. Her face hardened. And just like I was doing for you. For me? I crossed my arms. You think this was for my benefit? She nodded, eyes burning into mine. Do you have any idea how hard marriage is? You think you're in love now, but love fades. And if you don't follow traditions, if you don't do things right, it falls apart. I was trying to save you from yourself. I stared at her, trying to process the sheer audacity of what she was saying. So let me get this straight, I said. You think you know how to fix marriage? You, who drove away your own son. You, who ruined your other son's wedding. You think you are the expert. Sylvia didn't even blink. I was keeping the family together. I let out a slow breath, nodding. Wow, you really believe that, don't you? She lifted her chin. I do what needs to be done. And that's when another voice cut through the air. I always wondered how you justified it. A hush fell over the crowd, because standing at the back of the vineyard was Adam. Mark whipped around so fast I thought he might fall over. Adam? Sylvia actually gasped. You shouldn't be here. Adam ignored her. He stepped forward, his suit slightly wrinkled, like he had debated showing up until the last second. His hands were shoved into his pockets, but his face? His face was stone cold. I wasn't planning on coming, he admitted. But I got a call this morning. From Steph. Stephanie crossed her arms. You deserved to know what was happening. Adam's eyes landed on me, then on my dress. A slow smirk tugged at his lips. Damn. She really tried it again, huh? I raised an eyebrow. Again. Adam exhaled through his nose, shaking his head. I should have warned you. Mom doesn't just pull this dress stunt for anyone. She saves it for the ones she's really afraid of. Sylvia's mouth tightened. Don't you dare. Adam ignored her. He turned back to Mark. Mom made my ex's life a living hell. She started with the dress, then the venue, then our vows. Everything had to go through her. And when my fiancé pushed back, he let out a humorless laugh. Mom made sure everyone thought she was the problem. She turned family against her, made it look like she was difficult. It got so bad, she left me because she couldn't handle being part of this family anymore. Mark's face crumpled. No, that's not what happened. You just left. Adam looked tired. Because I had to. Sylvia clenched her fists. That woman was, Adam's voice snapped. Don't talk about her. Sylvia shut her mouth. Mark was shaking his head. No, this isn't right. This doesn't make sense. Mom's not perfect, but she's not a villain. Adam gave him a look of pure pity. Isn't she? Mark was struggling now, his brain desperate to reject what was happening. I could see the battle inside him, the part of him that had always trusted his mother, the part that wanted to defend her, fighting against the truth. Sylvia, sensing her control slipping, went for the nuclear option. She burst into tears. Oh, my sweet boy, she sobbed, reaching for Mark's hands. You can't believe them. I've only ever loved you. I gave you everything. And now they're turning you against me? Mark's breath hitched. He stared at her, his mother, the woman who had raised him. His mother, who was now exposed for who she really was. For a second, I almost felt bad for him. Then he looked at me. I raised an eyebrow, waiting. And his next words sealed his fate. Why are you doing this? Not to his mother. To me. The air left my lungs. Sylvia sniffled, squeezing his hands, playing the perfect victim. She's trying to ruin everything, honey. You know I only wanted what's best for you. Mark swallowed. His voice was small. I know. That's when I knew. He was too far gone. Even with all the truth laid out in front of him, he still couldn't see it. He still chose her. Adam saw it too. He sighed, rubbing a hand down his face. Jesus, Mark. Stephanie just shook her head. I took a slow, deep breath, bracing myself. Because I had one last move to play. I turned to Adam and said, "Do you have her number?" His eyebrows shot up. "Who?" "Your ex." I smiled. "I'd love to have a chat." Sylvia's entire body stiffened. Mark paled. "What are you doing?" I ignored him. I kept my eyes locked on Adam. Because I had a feeling. His ex had a lot to say. And this wedding was about to blow up. The air in the vineyard was thick with tension. Nobody moved. Nobody spoke. Sylvia's fingers curled against the fabric of her dress, her chest rising and falling in rapid bursts. She knew exactly what I was asking. Mark stood stiff, his knuckles white. He looked between me, Adam, and his mother, and I could see his mind racing, searching for some way to fix this, to bring things back to how they were before. But there was no way back. Adam's lips twitched as he pulled out his phone. "Yeah. I have her number." Sylvia let out a sharp breath. "You wouldn't." I smiled. "Wouldn't I?" Adam's thumb hovered over his screen. The crowd was dead silent. Everyone was watching. Sylvia turned on Mark instantly. "Stop them. Do something." Mark opened his mouth, but nothing came out. For the first time, he was realizing his mother had done something truly unforgivable. But Sylvia? She wasn't backing down. She turned to me, voice shaking with rage. "You don't get to waltz in here and destroy my family." I tilted my head. "Oh, so now it's my fault?" She pointed a trembling finger at me. "You did this." "You, Mom, stop." It wasn't Mark who said it. It was Stephanie. Sylvia's hand froze in the air. Stephanie stepped forward, her voice low but firm. "You want to know why I eloped? Why I never let you near my wedding?" Sylvia swallowed hard. Stephanie shook her head. "You ruined Adam's life. You tried to do it to me, too. And now you're doing it to Mark. You don't protect us, Mom. You control us. And you'll destroy anyone who doesn't fall in line." Sylvia flinched. For the first time, she looked afraid. Mark's face crumpled. He looked at Stephanie, desperate. "You really think she did all that?" Stephanie's voice cracked. "I know she did." Adam nodded. "She did." And then, the final blow. I turned back to Sylvia and said, "Let's call your former daughter-in-law. Let's see what she has to say." I took the phone from Adam. The screen glowed, the call dialing. Sylvia lunged. She tried to snatch the phone from my hands, but I was quicker. I yanked it back just in time, her nails scraping against my wrist. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Sylvia lost it. "You don't get to do this," she shrieked. "You are nothing. You are temporary." If my son was smart, he'd realize that right now. Mark flinched, but he didn't say a word. Sylvia's voice rose, hysterical. "I built this family. I kept us together. I sacrificed everything. And you think you can just waltz in and tear it all apart?" The phone kept ringing. 1 second. 2. 3. Click. "Hello?" The voice came through, steady. Feminine. Sylvia went still. I held the phone up so everyone could hear. "Hi, this is Adam's ex-fiancé. Can you tell us why you left?" Silence. Then, a slow breath. "I left because his mother made my life a nightmare," she said. "She controlled everything. She used guilt, manipulation, and lies. She turned people against me. And when I finally tried to stand up for myself, she told Adam it was me or her." A slow murmur moved through the guests. Mark looked like he might throw up. Sylvia shook her head violently. "No. She's lying. You're all lying." The woman on the phone sighed. "No, Sylvia. You just finally got caught." Click. The call ended. Sylvia turned to Mark, pleading. "Sweetheart, you don't believe this, do you?" She grabbed his hands. "You know me. You know I only ever wanted what's best for you." Mark's face was a storm of emotions. His whole body was shaking. Then, in the quietest voice, he whispered, "You did this to Adam." Sylvia stilled. Mark swallowed. "And you were about to do it to me." Sylvia shook her head violently. No, I was helping you." "You don't understand, Mark," but Mark pulled away. Sylvia gasped like he had struck her. "Mark?" Mark took a slow step back. Then another. His mother reached for him again, but this time, he flinched. Sylvia cracked. "You can't do this to me," she whispered. Her voice sounded small now. "You need me." Mark's face twisted. And then he said the words that broke her. "No, Mom. I don't." Sylvia collapsed into a chair, shaking. Adam and Stephanie stood together, watching. They had already fought this battle years ago. I exhaled, feeling the weight of everything. Then I turned to Mark. He was looking at me like he finally saw me clearly. And he knew. He knew I wasn't going to be the woman he thought he could mold. I took off the engagement ring and placed it in his hand. His breath hitched. Wait, I smiled. I deserve better. Then I turned. And I walked out. The wedding never happened. Sylvia disappeared from the venue shortly after, humiliated, broken. Some relatives tried to console her. Others didn't bother. Mark? He stayed in Napa for a while. I heard from mutual friends that he struggled with what happened. That he reached out to Adam. That he tried to fix things. Maybe he did. Maybe he didn't. I didn't stick around to find out. I left Napa the next morning and never looked back. I'd like to say I regret nothing. That I never loved Mark. But that wouldn't be true. I loved him. I really did. But loving someone isn't the same as staying. And I finally learned the difference.